Grinders. Welcome to the NFL Pre-Lock Show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka BlenderEd, Blender HD. If you want to follow me there on Twitter, joined by Chief Justice 06, Will Priester, switching up Mondays and Thursdays. We get the Thursdays are typically the crappier games, and this one, I think, is actually maybe a better showdown slate than an actual game. There are a lot of options. We got the Patriots are road favorites by 6.5 on the road to Atlanta. The Falcons, who look horrible, 47 total in the game. But I think there's a lot of ways to go. There's a lot of options. We got inactives news. Cordell Patterson is out. Christian Blake is inactive. JJ Taylor is inactive, and Devin Asiasi, or however you pronounce his name, he's inactive. So you do have Damian Harris active for the Patriots, and we should have a running back crew led by Mike Davis of the Falcons. What I mean, overall thoughts from today's showdown slate? Patriots versus Falcons. I'm not excited to watch it.
Well, what I will say is this feels like a rather interesting showdown slate because outside of the quarterbacks, like, I think they had to force price these guys up. Like Kendrick Bourne would not have been 11-4 on, a showdown slate with big time talent. But when you're missing Calvin Ridley on the other side and so forth and so on, Jacoby Myers is 12K. Like, I feel like
that's on FanDuel, obviously.
Wait a minute. Am I missing something? No, that's on DK.
Oh, 12K in the captain spot.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
right.
Sorry.
Right. It's like maybe I'm getting a discount. Are they giving me a special discount? It's late. I'm like, no, they're not that expensive.
Yeah, but these guys, I mean, I just think this is an interesting slate to get involved in overall. We will dive into some of our tools, I think, but all in all, man, Blender, I'm gonna have to take a page out of your book. Like, to me, this is the most play whoever you want showdown I've seen. To be honest, like I don't feel like any one person is absolutely going to hammer me tonight where I have to have them. Like this is the quintessential play whoever you want showdown slate.
Well, that's why I like it. That's why I like it, Will.
Yeah,
I like it. But if you're going to bet, don't bet wherever you want. Bet with our partner, BetMGM. So if you're gonna bet, we're gonna ask Will about some props a little bit later, because he's running the prop shop here at RotoGrinders. So if you go to BetMGM, use the promo code GRINDERSBET, all one word, GRINDERSBET, and make a deposit. If you make a $10 bet, you get $200 for free if your team scores a touchdown. So that's at BetMGM. Use the promo code GRINDERSBET. But for the showdown slate, I agree with you. I take a look at this and who's the captain? Who's the what guys do you play? I think there are more. To me, I find that there are certain players that I'm more likely to X out than I am to that I want to play. So for instance, I think on the running backs of both sides are priced from last game without any context of the current game. So we have Damian Harris is back. So he's most likely going to lead the carries for the Patriots, but Ramondre Stevenson's only 200 cheaper than him. So to me, if you're going to play one or the other, but most likely Ramondre Stevenson is overpriced now. And Damian Harris may be overpriced if they go 50-50 split with the workload. Both these guys may be overpriced. And then we saw in the last game, the Falcons gave up early. So they put in Gallman, they were just looking to get out of the game. I mean, they were down by 5 touchdowns. So they were running the ball with Gallman in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, that hurt a lot of my props that day. Young Wei Koo got no field goals. Whew. Man, sorry. Just brought back a sore memory.
Right, but I just want to bring it up to the fact that they priced Gallman up to 8,400, Mike Davis at 5,800. I'm not saying Mike Davis is a great running back, but we have to expect that Davis, especially with Patterson out, in a competitive game, he's going to see 60-70% of the backfield work in this game. So to me, I'm playing 16 lineups tonight. I didn't play any Gallman. I didn't play any Stevenson. I think Jonnu Smith being back for the Patriots, it's not like he gets a ton of snaps, but he does get work in the red zone. Mm-hmm. That makes kind of maybe Hunter Henry at $7K, maybe a little bit overpriced. And then we got the defenses. I think the Patriots defense is overpriced with the amount of players that we have underneath them that can outscore them. But outside of those types of situations, I mean, if you told me you wanted to play Kendrick Bourne in the captain, Alameda Zacchaeus at Nelson Aguilar in the captain, I mean, I think there's a lot more captain candidates, and it's more likely than not that the scoring is more spread out on this slate, where we don't get one guy that puts up 30 fantasy points. It's all it's 8 to 10 guys put up between 10 and 15. And it's just exactly whichever way the lineup construction works out, that's going to be the winning GPP lineup. So who would you consider to be the top targets on the slate? Because I think, to me, there's more it seems like there's more options, even though they're the underdogs, on the Falcons that they're on the Patriots as far as a ceiling is concerned. I see a lot of guys that they could score 8 to 10 points, but I think even if the Patriots score 3 or 4 touchdowns, that it's not all going to one person. If anything, it'll go to Damian Harris, 3 goal line carries or something like that. But in the passing game, I mean, I don't even see any of the Patriots receivers getting 100 yards. Truthfully, I don't see any of the receivers in the entire game. I don't see any of the running backs or any of the receivers in the entire game getting a bonus. And I don't see the quarterbacks getting a 300-yard passing bonus. From that perspective, that puts a lot of upside on these players. So I'm just mixing them around. I mean, I'm more likely to put the receiver in the captain spot than in the quarterbacks, because I think that the running backs will vulture some touchdowns in the red zone. But it's like you said, it's one of those weird slates where who do I feel like I have to have? It's weird. Maybe it's weird for me to say, but the guy that I have in most of my lineups is Kyle Pitts at 9,600.
Yeah, and I actually think that's the guy that's going to be in most lineups, because realistically, he probably is the only player that could be You hear what I'm saying? Not what I'm not saying. Slate breaker. Like, he's probably the only one that has that possibility. I want to put something to you, though, Blender, that's possibly going to go against something we're going to look at a little bit later. Little Wong teaser there.
It's 820, by the way, Will. It's 820 lock.
Thank you.
So just to let you know, the running
so
joke
glad.
is to make sure that you get your lineups in on time.
I'm so glad. Thanks, everybody. And keep that joke rolling. That's beautiful. I'm very interested in Mike Davis tonight.
I think he's going to be very positive. I mean, at 5,800, he's underpriced.
Well, but it's actually less about the running and more about the target possibilities. And he is going to be high on his showdown, so I know I have to eat some of that, right? But if I look at earlier this season, when Mike Davis was getting like a true bulk of the workload before they realized Cordell Patterson is the explosive player that we need to use, listen to these numbers. 15 carries, 6 targets. 9 carries, 7 targets. 12 carries, 4 targets. 13 carries, 5. I think we're going to end up somewhere in that range tonight, which for me, I feel like Mike Davis might be the most valuable player on this slate. Not a slate breaker, see? So I'm differentiating here. He might be the guy that would possibly be the lock button on this slate for me in terms of captain and flex. Like, not all captain, of course, but I'm saying in the flex, I feel like he might be a candidate for 100% exposure because he's got so many ways to get there with no Cordell Patterson if he goes back to this type of workload, especially since, as we were talking about, I'm really not expecting any skill players to get past 15 points. So if that's the case, I think Mike Davis is probably the most valuable puzzle piece on this slate. And I know you probably, get slightly uncomfortable with the 100% exposure, but I just want to pick your brain on that because that's the direction I'm leaning.
Well, I think he's the best value play on the slate. So, I mean, to me, it's not a matter of do you play Mike Davis. It's just like, how do you mitigate the ownership in your lineup? Like, really, that's what it comes down to. So, like, I have nothing against Mike Davis. I'm more inclined to play a receiver in the captain spot. But I think you're playing at least one. I think if no one's going to score more than 15 points or it's going to be very spread out, it makes the quarterbacks more valuable because, this game goes 28-21 and the touchdowns are spread around and each quarterback has 250 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Like, they're going to be in the top 6 of scoring on the slate also. So like almost all of my lineups have both of them in them. If not, I mean, obviously at least one. And it's more likely that Mac Jones spreads the ball around, has less passing volume than Matt Ryan. So like, that's why my lineups tend to have more Falcons in them. I'm playing all 16 of my lineups are 2-4, 2 Patriots and 4 Falcons. And my captains are all Falcons. So like, I have Pitts, I have Davis, I have Gage, and I have Zacchaeus in my captain spot. That's the direction I'm going. You don't like that? You don't like that?
No, I'm building as we're speaking.
Oh, you're building as we speak. Okay.
Let's get it in. Yeah.
I think the pricing on the Patriots make them captain prohibitive versus the Falcons. I mean, I've been saying this since the beginning of the show. Like, the Falcons are priced better than the Patriots with the receipt. I mean, sure, Aguilar could catch an 80-yard pass. Yes. Kendrick Bourne could do some trick play or something like that. Jacoby Myers, I mean, he just scored his first touchdown last week, so who knows? And the running backs possibly split carries. And like, can they get there? Do either of them get to 100 yards? I don't know. So that's why just focusing on the Falcons, to me, that's where I'm going. And also on the bottom end of the spectrum, there really aren't cheap guys to really play. I mean, and the cheap guys that you can play are mostly on the Falcons, are mostly like role players, possibly, one catch, 1 touchdown type of guys. So that's why the reason with the cheaper guys not really being as much in play, I didn't play any quarterback in the captain because, at 10-8 and 10-6, you're going to be stretched very thin. especially if you want to get like a Pitts or a Myers or a Russell Gage or and Davis and everyone in there. Just like, do I want to rely on these $200 guys? I mean, in some lineups, I guess, but it's not like some slates where stack the quarterback and the captain, a high or like a Cooper Kupp type, a high priced wide receiver, and then you're able to find, a guy that's underneath the defenses and the kickers that could score like 8 to 10 points. Because I'm not sure Gunnar Olszewski and Darby and Lee Smith or Parker Hesse, the secondary tight ends for the Falcons. I mean, yeah, if they catch a touchdown, maybe they could be in the optimal, but there's like I don't see anyone under here that's going to go like 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown.
Correct.
So like that leads me to not playing the quarterbacks in the captain spot. But I mean, if I'm going to play a quarterback in the captain, it'd probably be Ryan, because I prefer the Falcons receivers to the Patriots receivers.
Yeah, and possibly they have the likely outcome of maybe being behind a little bit, possibly. And so maybe that can, help us engage that theory a little bit more. So, but they are at home. So I'm not, they're in a dome. That's some of the Cardi speak. I'm expecting both teams to score, but nobody to really beat us. So I'm with you. I like the theory for sure.
Going through the YouTube chat. Feel free to post your questions in the YouTube chat. Give me those thumbs as usual. Subscribe to the channel.
The chat.
Yeah, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Let's see.
Get it in the chat. Mm-hmm.
Donnie Watson asks, in very large field DK GPPs, if New England keeps running like they have been, can you play both of the New England running backs and run it back with Ryan and pass catchers? Both running backs won't be played together a lot, will we? I agree. Both Harris and Stevenson will not be played together often. The problem is that they're both expensive. I mean, I'm perfectly fine, like on like a Rams showdown where Henderson's 9,200 and Michelle is like 3,600. Be like, okay,
or 200,
or obviously or 200. Like in those cases, I don't mind playing it. I almost feel like if you play 2 Patriots running backs, you're playing Brandon Bolden as the second running back. If you play them 2 of them together, but I don't even want to pay 4,800 for Brandon Bolden. So yeah, I think that at their prices, their ceilings are quite negatively correlated, Harris and Stevenson, but obviously they won't be played a lot together. And yes, in a low scoring game, if they both get touchdowns, maybe they both can appear in an optimal large field lineup, but I'd say the probability is much lower than just playing some other guys instead, right? Then you can make a different combination. So it's not something that I would do. I think at these prices, you play one or the other. And in fact, I think you play Harris over Stevenson regardless.
Yeah.
But together, I mean, yeah, you're going to be different, but you're going to be giving up projection to be different. Like, I almost feel like I'd rather play Wayne Gallman with one of the running backs. Like, Wayne Gallman's overpriced at 8,400, but like, he's not negatively correlated to Harris or Stevenson. So if I'm going to pay $8K for a second running back, why not have it be Gallman? Even though if you're going to sacrifice the projection, don't sacrifice the projection and also have negative correlation. But like I said, it's possible in a lower scoring game. I think that's viable. So if you're building for some type of 17-7 game and you're playing like a kicker and a defense, and the quarterbacks don't get there, like, okay, like there is a winning outcome where that happens, but that's the winning outcome. There's 95% of other outcomes. The two, Harris and Stevenson, don't appear in the winning large field GPP lineup. Are you playing would you play any Steven? Like, what do you think is going to happen with this Patriot situation? If Harris is active, like, I mean, I know Belichick, it's hard to predict what he does with his backfield a lot of times.
Yeah, but I think we're just going to go back to maybe Stevenson getting 5 to 6 carries. I think that's where we are. I mean, there's no
$8,600 for that.
No. I mean, there's no indication that Harris isn't the guy. Like, just none. You get what I'm saying? Like, Harris has been the guy all season. It's not like, they've been sprinkling him in, and 26 carries, 16, had 6, had 4, 14, 18, 14, 23. When he's healthy, he's the guy. There's no debate about it. So I can't bank on Stevenson carrying
To me, there's only downside with Stevenson at his price. So like they're both pretty much the same price, 8,800 and 8,600. In the best case scenario for Harris, he sees 80% of the work and he's worth more than 8,800, right? That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario for Harris is that he sees half of the work, right? Like you have to expect he's going to get at least half. So let's say they split.
Right.
So if the worst case scenario is 50-50 and the best case scenario is 80-20, well, that means the worst case scenario for Stevenson is that he only gets 20% of the work and he's sitting there at 8,600. What's his best case? 50% of the work? Unless you really think that Harris is active and he's really hurt and they plan on running Stevenson and Harris is there as some type of emergency.
And Harris was like a concussion. It wasn't even like a knee or something.
Right. My opinion on that is that if that was the case, they would have left JJ Taylor active.
Correct.
And they would have had 4 running backs. But the fact that Taylor's inactive also, like I see no reason not to assume that Harris is going to go back to the same role that he had the game before.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. And then Brandon Bolden, he's going to have his carved out 3 to 4 targets this game and 2 to 3. Like that's what he's going to do, which is going to eat into Ramondre Stevenson, because I feel like Damian Harris has a solidified role with this team. Damian Harris is Sony Michel, and Brandon Bolden is like James White on sale.
Right.
So Ramondre Stevenson is like Rex Burkhead. I mean,
LeGarrette Blount, if you want to go further back.
Yeah.
Gotta mention the Blount reference like that we did before the show.
Right. This weird might play, might not play role. Like I think the worst case for Stevenson is like 10%, to be honest with you. Like he could very easily. It's still
worse enough that
yeah.
600. Like the point that we're making is that like if we're talking about Stevenson and he was 3K, then we could rationalize an upside scenario that at 3K, if he gets 50% of the work, he could pay off that price tag at 3K. But at 8,600, you have to roster him thinking that he's going to get more than half the work that he did. And I mean, it's the same thing with Gallman, right? You don't play Gallman at 8,400 unless you don't think Mike Davis is the starter. And someone in chat, J10, is Mike Davis captain going overlooked? No. Mike Davis is going to be one of the most popular captains. We have the projected owner. Look, projected captain ownership, Mac Jones, we have 17%, Pitts 12%, Ryan 12%, Davis almost 12%. So like, no, Mike Davis captains are not going overlooked.
Yeah, I didn't hop on the captain page.
Like you put it on, but I mean, I think for point per dollar wise, he's the best captain. But the question is that like, well, how do you get different from there? I out of my 16 lineups, I think I have 3 Davis captain lineups.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like just in terms of ownership, not talking about Slate IQ, just in terms of ownership, it looks like, to me, honestly, God, I might change my single entry build. It looks like the best captain option for me, for the way I want to build tonight, is actually Russell Gage. I like it. I might flip my build here. I do currently have Davis captain for all the reasons I talked about in terms of carries and targets, and I'm thinking he's going to get 5 or 6 receptions for 20 yards. Like, I don't think he's getting 5 or 6 for 50. No. 5 or 6, 20 yards, 20 to 30 yards, maybe a touchdown, 40 to 50 yards rushing, and that might be enough, right? It's just the opportunity. But Russell Gage might be the best option, and you'll know why when we get to talk about a few other things.
If I had to bet, I think one of the Falcons receivers, like I just think a Falcons player is a captain, and it's going to be Davis or one of Pitts, Gage, or Zacchaeus. Like that, to me, that's what I'm betting on. That it's going to be a Falcons captain.
Yeah,
and I think they all have the upside to get there. What's your thoughts Okay, people are going to have this narrative, Will. Belichick, right? What's the narrative defensively for Belichick? He tries to take out your best weapon.
Away Kyle Pitts.
Right. But is that really the best? I mean, like, we're talking about the Falcons here. They're not like that good of a team.
Right.
Is Kyle Pitts really? I mean, they don't, even if when you watch them run their offense, it's not like Kyle Pitts is like, oh my God, they deploy. It's not like Travis Kelce even. Like,
right.
He's just a split out receiver, just like anyone else. And if he's open or whatever. It's like they don't force feed Kyle Pitts. So do you think that if you have, number one, I don't believe in the narrative anyway. You could back test it and see that it doesn't really matter. But don't you think that maybe they'd rather Ryan throwing, so they try to just stop? I'm not saying that you have to stop Mike Davis because it's not like he's a good running back. But don't you think that the best defensive play for the Patriots would be to make Ryan beat them? And Ryan's so prone to mistakes that maybe Pitts isn't the guy that gets like isolated out. Maybe it's Mike Davis that does.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a viable option. What I've looked at with Matt Ryan is, outside of last week, right? I'm just going to throw away last week. That's an anomaly for the most part, right? An anomaly. They're not going to lose 48-3 this week or whatever the score was.
Well,
okay?
Wait till after. Don't say that. They could.
Well, I don't think they will. I still think that's an anomaly. What I've looked at, though, is these passing attempts: 35, 46, 36, 42, 45, 40, 27, 30. I think, like you said, he's already going to get the volume because typically this team is playing behind. So I'm with you. The only thing is, for me, I think that helps Mike Davis. I don't think it hurts him because now he should.
You think he's going to catch dump? It's going to be
correct.
For PPR scoring. Like, yes. maybe he has 12 carries for 22 yards, but he catches like 7 balls out of the backfield. And for DraftKings scoring, you prefer the balls out of the backfield and the
right. So that's my only concern, because I think they're going to dial up the passing. I think Mike Davis catches 5 balls tonight for what it's worth, and because I think that's realistic. That's not pushing him to like 8 or 9 like Christian McCaffrey. We're saying Mike Davis 5 catches, and if you notice, I'm being very conservative. 5 catches, 25 yards, 5 for 20. 15 carries, 40 yards, and possibly a touchdown.
Right, that's 17. If he does that, that's 17 points.
Right.
And on this slate, with how it's spread out, it is that 17 points. He may be one of the highest scorers on the slate.
Right. And so that's why, in terms of the passing game, this is why I feel like it's less about. So for me, let me say this: if Mike Davis was 9K, I'd still play him on this slate because of what I'm talking about. He just happens to be significantly underpriced here. Even at 9K, I still have Mike Davis in everything because of what we're talking about, the passing opportunities and the rushing opportunities. The price just makes him higher owned, Right.
I agree with you, because I mean, his median score, he gets that more often than a Myers or a Bourne or any of the pass catcher. I mean, like, it just, from a PPR standpoint, he would be the highest floor player.
Yeah.
People are asking in the chat about defense. Would you play Pat's D in even Atlanta heavy builds? I have no Pat's D because I don't pay $5,600 for DSTs and Showdown. If a defense of that price beats me, then I just move on to the next slate. So no. The Patriots defense we have is 13% owned in the flex. I'd be more inclined to play the Falcons defense. It's just a matter of, like, you basically need a defensive touchdown and maybe only giving up 3 points. Yeah, of course it could happen. I'm not saying that it can't. But typically the higher price the defense goes, the more over-owned they are. Like, I'd play the Patriots defense at 5% owned at 5,600, and I still wouldn't probably like it. Just that paying these prices for defenses from an overall macro strategy is typically negative EV. That doesn't mean there'll be defenses that are in winning lineups, and that happens. Overall, if that happens, I just move on to the next slate. So I wouldn't do it. I'd much more likely play the kickers over the defenses. And in the cheap range, because we haven't talked about the cheapies. We just
Yes,
said
we
that
have
there
not.
really aren't.
Blender.
There aren't many cheapies to play.
Yeah.
Tight ends in showdown. So you have to tell me who's scoring a touchdown this slate. How many is it? Jonnu Smith, or is it going to be Parker Hesse or Lee Smith on the Falcons? They're $200 tight ends.
Yeah.
Tight ends always seem to get there in showdown. So do you consider Hesse and Smith to be like must plays? Obviously, no. I'm being sarcastic. I'm just saying.
I know.
Well, are you even looking down here? How about Frank Darby at $400 as the fourth wide receiver? Is there anyone down here that you would even consider? Because I do have some of these guys in lineups.
Man, I wish I could play Marvin Hall, because he's a guy I remember last year. He was kind of a DFS darling for a game or two. But I don't see it. I think
he's a special teamer. He's not even going to be on the. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I think the cheapest I would go would probably be N'Keal Harry.
Really? Okay. So no one underneath. Let me just tell you, I do have Frank Darby in some lineups. I do have Parker Hesse. I do have Lee Smith in some lineups.
Yeah, I get it.
Especially if they're going to be like single digit. I mean, we have them 1, 3, 0.7. I mean, they're not going to be that low.
Now, Blender, here's who you need to have in your lineups. Okay.
Oh, who?
Do you know who they are?
Is it a guy that rhymes with who?
No.
I thought you were high on the kicker. I don't know.
No. I am going to have Younghoe Koo though. You know I like kickers anyway.
Who do I have to have? I thought the only person I have to have is Mike Davis. Now there's another have to have.
Yeah, this is a funny for you. We might better get some Felipe Franks and Brian Hoyer, because that's what's taking our showdowns these days.
Oh, the backup.
It's backup quarterback.
Oh, get out of here! Come on. I know we concentrate on DraftKings, so it's for the people. Because I don't play Showdown. One thing, single game slates on FanDuel. Any thoughts on FanDuel? Someone's asking about contrarian MVP. I think that I mean on FanDuel, truthfully, if we're having a slate where we believe that the scoring is going to be very spread out, wouldn't you be more inclined then on FanDuel to play more contrarian MVPs?
Yeah, anybody that's not probably the quarterback or Damian Harris, you're probably going to come out ahead on FanDuel.
Right.
Because people probably feel like Damian Harris has some of the highest odds, and I need to look that up, because I feel like he might have the highest odds in this game to actually score a touchdown.
I'm taking a look right now on scoresandodds.com, our sister site. You can take a look at all the props across books, including BetMGM. And if you're going to bet on BetMGM, use the promo code GRINDERSBET. We see here, let's see. Let's take a look. Yeah, I'm assuming Damian Harris will be the highest.
Yeah, that's my assumption.
minus 110 on BetMGM. But
exactly.
BetMGM has minus 110 on Ramondre Stevenson. So it seems like the sports books are kind of hedging their action by saying, we're not sure who's going to be the lead back, but you're not going to be able to kill them because we're just going to give you the same price on both.
Yeah, and some people, and then now here's a good one, Blender. I think we've got Mike Davis at plus 180 on DK.
Right, plus 160 on BetMGM.
Yeah, plus one. I think those are good odds for a team that's down a lot of weapons. If they get. Listen, they are going to give him an opportunity if they get around the goal line, and he's got the opportunity to catch one. Him and Kyle Pitts have the same odds on BetMGM at plus 160. If that tells you anything. And Kyle Pitts is what, 9,600, and Mike Davis is 58. We know they screw up the pricing. I'm just saying, looking at these odds, man, I like these odds for sure.
Looking through some more of the odds here. On the sports, I mean, you could just tell with the receiving lines, it's like everything is very spread out. Rushing yards, Stevenson 39.5, Harris 54.5. we don't even have the Davis ones up here on scoresandodds.com. Well, only because Patterson got ruled out. So that's why they probably took the props down.
Yeah. Russell Gage over 3.5 receptions, -149 on BetMGM. I like that a lot. So here's another. Now, this is a good one. We don't have this one on BetMGM, but we are using scores and odds. I'm so glad we're including this, Blender. Thank you. We've got Mike Davis at over 3.5 +115 on DraftKings. Take it.
Well, we're
Just
talking
take
about what is that? The receptions prop?
Receptions, yes.
Okay.
He's at 3.5 +150. BetMGM does not have those odds. And then we've got Kendrick Bourne. He's at 3.5 on BetMGM +125. Don't really like that one as much because I think he sticks right at 3. It's either going to be 3 or 4. So where you're really getting the best odds in terms of, I think, actually making the money is Kendrick Bourne over 2.5 -180 on FanDuel. I just think that's
a hefty price. I mean, you're essentially paying for 3 receptions right there. I mean, you're paying the extra vig.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of laying -180 on a prop.
I know. But I'm just saying it feels like that if you're trying to get, guaranteed money, because what you do, if you want to increase that ROI, Blender, you just turn this thing into a parlay.
Or why don't I try to middle? Why can't I middle it? Can I bet the over 2.5 and then the under 3.5?
Absolutely.
Right. I could bet the under and the over at one place and then the other at under. And then if it comes in at 3, then I win both bets.
Correct.
Right. You could do something like that. If
Absolutely.
obviously the odds work out that way.
Yeah.
I don't know specifically on this bet, but what I mean, just in general. But those are the types of things that you could use scores and odds for, to look across sports books, line shop, find, arbitrage opportunities. And
arbitrage. Oh, you're talking my language now, Blender.
Right.
Arbitrage. I like it. Yes.
And you know what I like to arbitrage the most?
What's that?
Slate IQ.
Let's get it.
I do them, and people don't like it now that I do this. I show them the Slate IQ like very late. I do it because this is part of our premium product, right?
Yes.
Typically, this is just for our subscribers. So if you click on the link in the description, you could sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, get $10 off your first month. And you could use the combo package, right? You could get NBA, MLB, PGA, NASCAR, MMA, soccer, everything thrown into one, or just football or just basketball. But we run simulations, historical and current simulations on the slate, and basically simulate the large field GPP contest on DraftKings to come out with what types of constructions, what players, what types of combinations end up in the top 0.1% of lineups versus how much they're going to be owned. And we see here, based on our sims, the builds that show up more often are 3-3 and 2-4. Hence why you see that I built a lot of 2-4 lineups. Then we see with the captain usage that we have more of the Falcons are under-owned in the captain. So like Russell Gage is significantly under-owned in the captain. Zacchaeus is under-owned in the captain. Mike Davis is under-owned in the captain. Compared to his projected captain usage as of this simulation. Understand that our simulation has Cordell Patterson in. So it's not going to be absolutely 1-to-1. But then we have like guys like Jacoby Myers and Damian Harris and Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry that in our simulations are going to be over-owned in the captain. So you can get this type of information if you sign up for RotoGrinders. I do it all the way at the end, Will, because if people are just like waiting around for us to show off the behind the paywall content, you only got about 3 minutes to react. So feel free to, oh my God, I got to change all my lineups. Well, you wouldn't have to do that if you signed up for RotoGrinders Premium by clicking on the link in the description and getting $10 off.
Yes.
But that's how I build my lineup. So like if I'm on these shows saying I'm building my lineups this way, well, it's probably because of this. I mean, like you could almost like read through the tea leaves. Why is Jordan building 2 4s? Probably because Slate IQ says to build 2 4s. So we got 2 minutes left before kickoff. 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to put in your lineups. How many lineups are you playing? Well, are you just playing one lineup?
One. But in the prop field,
you got 700 prop bets going, right?
Let me see. Not that many, but I got one. Let's see. I'm talking about builds, and this is on Prize Picks here with these builds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 different builds for NFL on Prize Picks.
And this is and what you do on Prize Picks is part of your prop shop.
Absolutely.
So well, explain what the prop shop is, because I saw that channel get created in our Discord, which is for premium members, and I'm like, what's this going to be? So is that the place where you post your props?
So
is what the shop is the shop a good thing? Maybe that's where you go to get your props fixed, because it's the shop.
well, it's the prop shop, and we're having a real good time. It's where you come. It's community. It's actually a free channel. Believe it or not. The prop shop is a free channel.
Oh, it's a free. Okay, so that means if you have a RotoGrinders account, which you could have a free account, you have a forum account on the site.
Yeah,
and you could join our Discord. You're not going to be able to see the premium channels,
right?
But you're telling me that the chop shop is a free one.
Yeah, it's a freebie. And listen, Blender, all we're doing is talking props, talking different sites, trying to find the best lines on the day, and it's really taking off. I think people enjoy what we're doing. Basically, Blender, when Dean was saying we're there 24 hours a day, it's not quite 24 hours for me, but the prop shop is open. But we start out, our day starts at 3 a.m., at least for now, because CSGO is going on, which is basically esports, counter sports global offensive. So that's going on. Now, let's listen, we build those and we go to sleep. And then we wake up and see how we did. But, I didn't realize how important that and vital that was going to be to the prop shop. But CSGO keeps the prop shop rolling because we're there all day and we're making money all day, Blender. And I'm not exaggerating. People can post their own screenshots. I do the research. I put the plays out there. And if they play it the way, not that you have to follow everything I say, it's not that. But if you play it the way I say play it, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be profitable at the end of the day. I had a guy in there, D. Kinder, and I know we got to go, but, he talked about the fact that, man, I've been doing this the wrong way. And so I told him how we're making money. And once he swapped over his process, he said, hey, usually I would have lost $50 on this, but today I made $62.50. He said, you get what I'm saying? It's like, we're in here to make money. We're not in here because it's a joint sweat, Blender. That's what we call it, a joint sweat. I'm not competing against Blenderhead to try to take down a mill. We're all trying to compete against the house. And that's what makes the prop shop so unique and fun. We're all there to make money.
And the most important part of the prop shop is being there and being active, because like you post a prop that is, stale, that is good. It may go away at a half an hour. I mean, like if you're not there, it's got, if you show up at 6 o'clock at night and it's like you were talking in the morning, it's like, oh, I like, this list line has value, like a receiving prop on 53 yards for this. Like by the time you look at it 6 hours from now, maybe the line has gone up to 57 or 58 and the overs no longer has value to it. So it gives you more importance on being part of the community and being around, because like you really need to snap these things up like when they're available, because I can tell you they go away pretty quickly.
Yeah, especially Blender. I'm so glad, especially on Underdog, especially on Thrive, right? I've posted. So when I find it, you know what I'm going to do? I post it right away. And I say, hey, you need to get on this now, especially on Thrive and Underdog, because what's going to happen is, let's say I posted at 11 a.m. Well, guess what? What's going to happen is we're all going to go in and hammer it, right? By 11:30, it's changed. It's totally. They may have even taken the whole prop down. Like that's how it works. So I'm really excited about it. Everybody's doing their thing. And like I said, with CSGO, the thing about CSGO is, you just have to kind of put it in, because things can go away quickly. The games start, they only last an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. So I've had people come in the morning and say, "Hey, where's the prop?" I'm like, "Well, the game already started. It started an hour ago." So you know what I mean? But come in, it's a fun community, having a good time. Thanks to everyone that's joining in. It's something I'm passionate about. As you can tell, I've been passionate about this for probably over a year strong. I think at one point I was telling our handy dandy producer Devin that, man, why do I play traditional DFS? Well, of course, it's because I like it. But secondarily, one of the things you said before too is, if you think you're good at predicting outcomes, you don't need to play DFS. You need to be in sports betting. So, I've kind of taken this prop thing on along with Grant as well, and we've kind of made it our own, and we've had some success, and it keeps rolling every day. And now people get to see the success because they're playing exactly what I'm playing. And so if I win, they're going to win. If I lose, they're going to lose. So they can see the success on their own. I don't have to tell them, they can see it every day. So at any rate, I'm done, Blender, with my prop shop talk, but come hang out with us. It's tons of fun.
Right. Devin has posted a link in the chat to join the RG Discord, and that channel is free. So as long as you have an RG account, a forum account, a regular site account, which is free, you'll be able to connect your account and join that channel. Or obviously, if you want all the tools here at RotoGrinders, sign up for a premium account, and you'll get all the channels, the NBA, the MMA channel, the NFL channel, everything in there, which is active all the time. But we're past lock. Hopefully Hunter Henry doesn't kill me today for not paying $7K for a tight end, or Gallman and Stevenson get there, but we'll see. So you'll be back on Monday, right? Where you're not switching full time.
No, I'll be back. Yeah, this Monday I'll be back for sure.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's okay. So we'll be back with you as we are. Every primetime showdown slate, Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays. Now, I mean, I'm not on Sundays, but we're always here. So subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. And we'll see you next time on another edition of the NFL Pre-Lock Show here on RotoGrinders.com.